Okay, today is June 15th. It's Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Let's take a look at some of the stock that might be of interest next week. First one is Bouquet. You can see Bouquet, came down here and made a little bit of a low and then start bouncing back up here and sort of encounter resistance somewhere around this 933, 932 area. And then hover it down here a little bit. So it's kind of forming a little base down here and we're getting ready to break out of this baseline. So if we could break through that 932 next week, we might be able to see it to make its way back up or try to make its way back up to this 980 and possibly maybe even come up and test some of these, previous high level, at the 1025 and even might be getting up to try to put in a new high on the above that 1085 area. So you can see that the price it is leaning against the 50-day moving average here. So and there is some convergence here on these moving average, and maybe in the coming day these will converge, and then the 50-day will kind of get flattened out, and the 20 EMA will cross over the 50 as the price move up this above this baseline here. So that could be one stock that might be of interest in watching for potential movement on the long side. Then the other one is Pandora. On the Pandora, I put out a chart a while back. And we're basically talking about this low here. Came up and tried to get into this gap fill here and pull back a little bit. So right now it seems to be forming a little bit of a higher low and a higher high, and it did break back into that price gap last week and filled it, so it's kind of pulled back a little bit. So if any more pullback down to this baseline area, that might be a good opportunity to start looking at a possible long entry to maybe see if it could come back up and tag this level somewhere around near the the 30 area. And if it could break above that, then it might have a good chance of even have a chance to come up and tag this 32 level and possibly get up to this 33, 30, 34 area. And the other one is Checkpoint Software, CHKP. Again, you see this big doji hammer here, and it's kind of got a little bit of a capitulation out here and down here, and then it came back up, sort of forming a series of higher low, and then kind of came in, fill this gap here, this gap here, come back and tag this price level, and seems to try to break above that. So you might want to keep an eye on a break above this 80, this 6610 area. If you could break through this 6610 somewhere, then might look for a possibility of for it to come up and tag this 6840, 6850 area, and who knows, it might even come up to the 6970 area. So, and the other one is VJET, these 3D printer. Okay, let me go and zoom this up here a little bit so we can see the price a little bit easier. Okay, so you can see VJET is kind of came down to this low here, somewhere around this 1280 area, and it came back up and try to tag this level here. So it's kind of counter resistant right now. It pulled back and forming a higher low. So if it could pull and break above this essentially somewhere around the 1450 level, then maybe it could make itself back up and try to test this 1627, 1630, essentially getting into this gap fill area again. And the first time it came into this gap fill, so it didn't quite completely fill the gap. So maybe this time if we could get up above this 1620 area, then maybe it could come up and fill this gap and possibly tag this level somewhere in the $18 range. Then the other 3D printer that might be of interest is XONE. See again, you got this little doji hammer here, and it came up, encountered resistance somewhere on this particular level, right, somewhere around the 38, and then pull back. Then you can see that low here kind of held above this particular low. And right now it seems to be forming a little bit of a series of a higher low. If it could break above this 3052, essentially it came up and filled this gap and then pulled back. Then, it essentially getting back above the 50-day moving average, then might have a good chance of coming back up and try to tag this 3780 area, and who knows, maybe could be even get up and test this, that's 200-day moving average up here near this 46, or at least get up to this 44 area, this particular pivot high. Then a couple, here's another semiconductor company, Xiling, and Xiling seems to be forming a little bit of a wedge here, and it might be squeezing up here and get above this 47.13, 47.15, and there's a good chance that it could make itself up and try to fill this gap here, or at least come up and tag this level, which is somewhere around the 49.60 area, because you can see it is forming, like here is a higher low here, although we have a series of lower high. But it's kind of forming a little bit of a triangle and getting squeezed over here. So we might be able to, we might see that to squeeze out of this apex on the upside and then try to tag this 200-day moving average here. And once you get above that 200-day moving average, then there might be a possibility of encountering resistance near this 50-day. But definitely, we're, one of the price target that could potentially be tagging is somewhere around this price gap level near this 49.70. Then the other one is CREE, which is a LED manufacturer. Again, you see this little doji hammer here formed this low, and it came back up, came up here and pulled back. Now this low is holding above this particular low, so we got a little bit of a higher low, and it seems like a little bit of a cup and handle pattern, and it's sort of broken out of that handle and tagging the 50-day moving average. So another thing that we'll probably want to see, if it pulled back a little bit below this baseline, there might be an opportunity to go and look for re-entry on a possible long side and play. The target will be somewhere around this 53.30 area into this gap zone here. Then the other price target will be up here where it filled the gap and near the 200-day moving average somewhere around the near the 58 level. Okay. Then looking at Amgen, one of the biopharmaceutical, we see that again this forming a little bit of a doji hammer here. Then these successive low here seems to be holding above this low, and right now it's came up. You encounter this resistance and pull back. So if this thing could bounce off of these, this level here and try to get back up about this 119.28. So essentially form a, higher low and it break above this particular pivot level. Then essentially we could see like a inverted head and shoulder pattern. And the one of the target that we probably could look for is maybe come up to this 127, 24, 25 area. Okay, that's for Amgen. So it kind of, wait a little bit, although that's still kind of forming. It might come down a little bit more to consolidate before it flatten out and form that base to come back up. So just a little heads up and, kind of keep an eye on that. So the other one is MGM. The casino stock been, kind of weak recently, but, MGM also, forming this little wedge. Right, so you can see a series of higher low, but lower high. So we're waiting for this thing to break out of this apex as well. If it break down, then we'll probably be looking at it to maybe come down and retest this 23 area. Right? If it break out of this, on the upside, then we could see it maybe come up and tag this 27 and even possibly make it back up to the previous high or somewhere around near the 28.60, 28.70 area. Okay, so those are some of the stock that might be could show some action next week. So just kind of give you a little heads up on some of these ideas, and if you find it suitable to your trading style and trading plan, you might want to keep an eye on it. So good luck to you on your next week on your trade.